in going into week 3, we've got the Pats, the Chargers, the Broncos, Bengals, Texans, Cardinals, Vikings, Bears, and Panthers, all 0-2. I think that's a good bucket of teams who really can't afford to lose. So of all those teams, who would be sort of number one on the list of, they cannot start the season 0-3? It would be a massive panic. It would be a serious problem for that franchise, for that team. What do you think, Jack? Who would be on the top of your list?
Now there's some that I bet you're gonna get to, so I'll hold off on those for now. I'm gonna go with what I always talk about. We'll probably talk about them later, and that's the Patriots. But there's a reason. There's more than just I don't want the Patriots to lose. Right? There's two reasons. For one thing, Patriots haven't lost to the Jets in 7 years. I believe it's 14 straight games. The Patriots have not lost to the Jets, and the Jets have not made it to the playoffs. I don't think in that long, so it's not like one of those a playoff loss. They have not. They have not lost to Jets in that long. Losing to the Jets when you're already down 0-2, when you're already winless, that's bad juju. You don't want that happening. That, and then added to the fact, week 4 they're playing the Cowboys, and I we'll over the season we'll talk about the Cowboys. We'll have to analyze how are they the best 2-0 team or the worst 2-0 team. We'll talk about that, but almost nothing could happen in week 3 that will make me not pick the Cowboys in week 4.
Mm-hmm.
Even give me, knock on wood that doesn't happen. Give me Micah Parsons injured. I still call the Cowboys. Give me Micah and Dak injured. I think I still take the Cowboys just based on how the Patriots. I might. Yeah, I'm beginning to. I mean, wait, is Cooper Rush? Depends if they've got the Coop. If they've got Cooper Rush, if it's Trey Lance, well then I'd take him. If it's Trey Lance starting, I wouldn't go that far, But hey, I don't have a lot of. I mean, we'll have to see, of course, season. I'm not going to rag on this for too long right now, but I think they're going to lose week 4 unless tragic injuries happen. I think they're going to lose week 4. If they lose to the Jets, not only do they have that first Patriots team to lose to the Jets in 7 years, not only do they have that, they also are going to probably go 0-4 because they're going to play the Cowboys. Then they have some gimmies, but then you're starting the season 0-4. And you've broken this big long time winning record against a team without their starting quarterback.
Right.
So that's why I picked them.
Yeah, listen, Jack, you took the words right out of my mouth. All right, the number one team on my list of teams who can't afford to lose in week 3 is absolutely the New England Patriots. Okay, first of all, it doesn't seem like this is, and we've talked about this last year, and we've kind of discussed this kind of off podcast, but this Patriots team is not the same as they used to be. That identity and that culture of do your job, don't make mistakes, let the other team make the mistakes, will win plenty of games like that. It's now the exact opposite. This team backwards laterals for some reason in tight spots. They turn the ball over. They're penalized. They don't look sharp. The only part of the culture and identity that's still intact is that the defense is pretty good. Definitely top 10, maybe top 5. But outside of that, it seems like the Patriots are just, they're kind of spiraling, right? And then, as you said, if they go in, they've already started the season 0-2. They go in and they lose to the Jets for the first time. They go 0-3, probably 0-4. Listen, something's got to change up there, right? Something serious has to change up because besides the defense, the team doesn't really look top to bottom like it used to. It's just not the same, right? So they're definitely number one on my list. I'm going to go to another team who can't afford to lose, the Denver Broncos. All right, everyone knows who follows this podcast. True. I love ragging on the Broncos. Okay, but listen, you've got one of the maybe all-time worst trades and contracts for Russell Wilson ever. Currently, it's actually only the second worst QB contract in the league because the Browns decided to give Deshaun Watson $250 million guaranteed and gave up picks to be able to do so. If you took out that, actually maybe the worst deal in sports history, this would be the worst contract in the league right now. And, Russell Wilson actually hasn't played that bad, but they've lost to the Raiders and the Washington Commanders. And they've started 0-2. They brought in as backup Sean Payton to
They
fix.
traded a first round pick
They traded a
for
first
Sean Payton.
round
Not
pick
not just brought him in.
to come in and fix Russell Wilson, right? But because Sean Payton is some QB guru, because he maybe
Drew
won some
Brees.
games with Taysom Hill, and I could make the argument that Sean Payton's career is a lot more like Mike McCarthy, who widely understood as a big dummy, um, than he is to some an actual Hall of Famer coach like someone like Andy Reid, right? Sean Payton's got one Super Bowl with a great quarterback and a lot of playoff losses with him after that. So we think that he's going to come in here and fix Russell Wilson. I don't think so. Something's got to give. Sean Payton just came in. This is Russell's second year. Can they bench him? Can they trade him? I don't know if the contract's even movable. They got to win. And the thing is, they're not going to because they're playing the Dolphins. So we got problems in Denver. What do you got, Jack?
Yeah, I got the 2-for-1 special here because they're playing each other, right?
All
Right,
right.
which still gives another good answer to you. But the 2-for-1 special, Chargers and the Vikings, both of these teams. I mean, maybe the Vikings less so because they've got lower, but they still made it to the playoffs last year. But the Chargers definitely starting 0-2. Justin Herbert's still playing pretty well, and I'm not some Justin Herbert fanatic. I know neither of us are, like some people are, but like something with Staley, something's got to give there, right? To start 0-2 like this in two, sort of winnable games, not games like the game that they could have easily won against the Chargers, and then losing last week to the Titans. Was it? I mean, I think I called them to make the playoffs, but they gave Ryan Tannehill the best game of his career, maybe best game in some number of years.
Yeah.
Like the completion percentage wise, that's not the chart. The Chargers have to figure something out. And on defense, I thought Staley was supposed to be a defensive minded guy. Their defense is terrible. They got to do something, and I think it'll be tough. We'll get to some picks, but I think it'll be tough against the Vikings. I think the Vikings also need to win because they're now also starting 0-2. I think maybe less so because maybe they put up better performances. They almost maybe beat the Eagles, but it still is tough for a team that 13 wins or something, made it to the playoffs last year. You don't want to start 0-3, but maybe less so for them. I'm thinking more for the Chargers. But
Yeah, I agree. It's more for the Chargers, but it's an excellent call out that this is the can't afford to lose game, right? And someone's going to, unless it's a tie. That's arguably worse. Um, but for Chargers, I'll start there. I think that the next head coach is already in the door. They should have fired Staley last year, and especially after the playoff debacle against the Jaguars, and they didn't. But they went ahead and they paid Kellen Moore to come in, and frankly, the offense has looked pretty good. Justin Herbert has looked pretty good. The problem is they're giving up all these points on defense, and yeah, like you said, Staley's the defensive guy. I'm not sure how early is too early to fire your head coach, but if Moore is already in the building, it feels like this is ripe for a head coaching change right now.
that's a
Um,
good point.
and and I have to say, and something's got to change because are we going to see another, franchise quarterback slash great quarterback for the Chargers basically waste their career in LA slash San
Yeah,
Diego? And how long before Herbert? I know he just got his big contract, but how long before he says, you know what, I want a trade? Like team like Deshaun
no,
Watson forced his way out of Houston. Why can't I force myself out of LA and this team and this mess of the Chargers? So I definitely agree with you there. In terms of the Vikings, yeah, I mean it's a mess over there as well. But the offenses look good, and Kirk Cousins has played
yeah,
pretty decent. I think that they could still possibly salvage a little bit. Their
yeah,
turnovers have been massive. They have the most turnovers, or the worst turnover
yeah,
differential in the league over 2 games. I think some of that might even out. We'll talk about who we're taking in our pick
yeah,
segment, but that's definitely a team who they both can't afford to lose. Do you have any
yeah.
more, Jack?
No, I don't want to spend too long on this segment, but I mean the Bengals. It's tough for the Bengals to start 0-3 and end it in that division where the Ravens, right, with the Ravens being in it, and in the AFC, and the Ravens are probably going to be 3-0. Who are they playing? They're playing the Colts. Ravens are playing the Colts. Yeah. Spoiler alert. We're gonna take the Ravens on that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like the Ravens are going to be 3-0, and then if the Bengals start 0-3, that's a really tough deficit to climb out of. I feel like in division, including when Ravens right have already beat you once.
Right.
Um,
And
I
and
think it's tough.
it's fair, and I think that if people think that the Bengals are some sort of serious Super Bowl contender, then they should be worried and saying that they can't afford to lose. But would Joe Burrow hurt, and how I felt about the Bengals coming in, it's just something. This is what I expected. Go back and watch the tape, guys. 710 Sports was on this before anybody.